Hey there, Mr. Reddit here. Welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parent Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today, Let My Son Live With You and Eat All of Your Food. After that, Soccer Mom is mad, I fired her no-show daughter. And after that, don't tell me what color to wear. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen forgets her credit card at the gas pump. So please smash that like button. And if you're new, subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. Let my son live with you and eat all of your food. Hey people of Reddit, this isn't my story, but it's my cousin's. My cousins and their roommate told me this story last January. I thought it was funny, so I thought I'd share. By the way, cousin and his roommate are both 16 and my little cousin is 12. An entitled mom demanded that her 12-year-old first-year son be allowed to live in the room with my cousins and their roommate. Meet everybody. We've got my older cousin, my little cousin, the roommate, entitled mom, entitled kid, security guard, and entitled kid's roommate. The setting. My cousins go to a very elite, private, all-boys school, grades 6 through 12 in the New England region of the United States, so it's not uncommon to encounter an entitled parent and kid here or there. Now let me state that my cousins are not entitled. They apply for financial aid and have campus jobs to afford the $60,000 a year tuition. Now my older cousin is the student body president of the school. Because of this, the president gets a room that is 1,200 square feet, has a fully functional kitchen and a bathroom. The room also has a large living space, balcony, and office. The other rooms just have 2 beds, 2 closets, 1 desk, and a small window, and they're around 150 square feet. Because my little cousin is related to older cousin, he was allowed to live in the room versus the standard dorms. Cousin's roommate was also the student body treasurer, so the dean allowed him to live in the room too, because he was my cousin's friend. With 3 guys living together, there was a surplus of video games and junk food, just guys being guys. With the new semester starting, student body officers had to help with orientation, helping the parents get their first-year students settled in. Because little cousin was already settled in, he was just playing games on the PS4 with the door open. Cue entitled mom and kid. Entitled mom, nice at first. Excuse me, little cousin. Yes? I'm looking for my son's dorm and I can't find it. Can you help me? Little cousin. Hey, I'm new here myself, so I don't know much. My brother is responsible for helping first years, so let me call him. Entitled mother and her son wait for about 25 minutes for older cousin to arrive. So little cousin was playing games with entitled kid on the PS4, eating junk food, and showed them around the room. Older cousin arrives. Hey, I'm older cousin. You must be the mom trying to find her son's dorm. Entitled mom, now rude. Yes, I've been waiting for someone to help me. Older cousin first disregards her tone as orientation day is hard. Older cousin goes on his phone with the info that the mom gives and directs her. Apparently, entitled kid only lives down the hallway to the left. Entitled mom leaves with entitled kid and his luggage. Entitled kid says in that gosh-awful voice as he's leaving, I want to play more games. Entitled mom says, you can later. Older cousin has this geez look on his face, closes the door, and plays on the PS4 with little cousin. 10 minutes later, there are loud bangs on the door. Older cousin sees who it is. It's entitled mom and her brat. They've returned with his luggage. I need your help, now. Her brat runs to the PS4. Older cousin. What seems to be the problem? Entitled mom starts whining. My son's room is small. It's not like this one. Who do we talk to about this? Older cousin. I'm sorry. If you're unsatisfied with your living situation, you'll have to talk to a counselor about his situation. And nobody has a room like this one because I'm the president. The entitled kid starts rummaging through games. Entitled kid. Do you have Fortnite? Hey, put that down. Don't talk to my son that way. Besides, my son needs more living space. Do something. At this time, entitled kid is still rummaging. Then little cousin pushes him to the side and locks the game cabinet, and he starts screaming. Roommate was also returning to the room with his lunch. Entitled kid. I want to play games. Little cousin. This is our room, and you can't use my things if I don't want you to. Entitled kid screams. I wanna. Roommate. What's going on? Entitled mom interrupts. These boys won't help me find a room like this one for my son. Roommate. Oh, that's impossible. This is the only room like this one. Besides, this room is only for the president. Entitled mom condescendingly. Then how come you're here? Roommate explains. Roommate. Little cousin is related to older cousin, so he can stay here. I'm in student government with older cousin, which allows me to live here. Older cousin. Yeah, I told her that. Entitled mom then says to older cousin and roommate, you should let my son live here. Entitled kid overhears his mom. He now thinks that he lives in the room. He goes to the fridge and tries to get a soda. Little cousin blocks him and says, you are not our guest, nor do you live here. Don't touch our food. Entitled kid. Forget you. This is my room too, and you have to share. Older cousin then says to get her kid out because he's a nuisance and bothering them. Entitled mom says no. Older cousin and roommate are not having it. They ask her politely yet firmly to leave. Entitled mom walks in and proceeds to unpack her son's luggage. Entitled kid is also having a fit because little cousin isn't letting entitled kid have any food. Mom, he won't let me have some donuts. Don't worry, mommy will help after I unpack you. Older cousin and roommate firmly. Your son isn't living here. Yes, he is. My son is an angel. You should be glad to be friends with him. Older cousin. I'm not interested in living or being friends with your son. Leave now. Entitled mom ignores older cousin and continues to unpack with her entitled kid still screaming, I want donuts. He then screams at little cousin, I want to play your games. Little cousin says no. The kid then starts screaming high-pitched. Older cousin, little cousin, and roommate have had enough of this charade and then proceed to drag them out and throw his luggage in the hallway and lock the door. Entitled mom and son continue to bang and howl. Entitled mom promises that she'll get her son back in, so she leaves. At this time, friends were coming over and someone accidentally let entitled kid in the room. People confused ask who he is. Entitled kid tells them who he is and that he lives there. Entitled kid then starts demanding to use the PS4. Older cousin sees him and kicks him out again, with him shouting, I want to stay. His mom then returns with a security guard. Entitled mom. These boys kicked my son out of his room. Do something. Security guard. Lady, I know for a fact that your son doesn't live here. He needs to stay here. This room is much better than the other ones. Security guard then asks if the mom is bothering them. Everybody says yes. He says, I'll take care of the mom, and asks cousin to watch the kid. Entitled kid is dragged out again, and he shouts, my daddy will mess you up for this. The mom was escorted off the campus grounds. Older cousin and roommate forcibly moved entitled kid into his room for him. Little cousin ended up becoming friends with entitled kid's roommate as the months have passed. Entitled kid has been so bratty and annoying that entitled kid's roommate has had sleepovers with my cousins almost every night. Because of this, entitled kid packs an overnight bag and almost always follows his roommate and demands to be let in. I was told it goes down like this. Entitled kid. Let me in, roommate. You can't have a sleepover without me. Little cousin. Go away. We're not letting you in. I want to see my roommate. He'll vouch for me. You can't play games or have sleepovers without me. Entitled kid's roommate comes out and puts ice cream on the table. Entitled kid's roommate. I stay here 4 to 5 days a week because I need a break from you. Please go away. Entitled kid. OMG, traitor. So much for loyalty. The least you can do is share the ice cream. Roommate gets up and closes the door. OMG, let me in. I'm not playing. My cousin's roommate and entitled kid's roommate turn the volume on the TV louder and tune out his pleas and crying. They later woke up to him sleeping at the front door at 6 a.m. He stayed there for 10 hours. Update. My cousins gave me a recent update about the entitled mom and her entitled son that has been harassing them during the school year. They were going on vacation President's Day weekend. Entitled mom demanded that her son be allowed to vacation to New York City with them. So entitled kid's roommate's parents live in New York City around 5th Avenue. For those of you who don't know, 5th Avenue is some of the most expensive real estate in the city. Entitled kid's roommate's parents were allowing my cousins and their roommate to stay in New York for free, with meals included because they are friends with entitled kid's roommate. All my cousins had to do was drive there, which is around 3 hours. As entitled kid had been harassing my cousins, their roommate, and his roommate all semester, he overheard the situation and he demanded to go. When his attempts to go fail, he then calls his mom, who drives from another state, to demand that the gang take her son on vacation with them. So in February on the 20th, my cousins, their roommate, and entitled kid's roommate are talking to little cousin to try and get a game plan together for the New York trip. Entitled Kid hears his roommate's phone call about planning the trip, and then it goes as follows. Entitled Kid, hey, where are you going? His roommate, home to New York with the guys? Why?
Can I come too? Please.
I think not.
Why not?
I don't want you at my house or around my family. Entitled Kid gets upset. Then his roommate goes to the room to hang with my cousins and their roommate. Entitled Kid then follows. The door is shut in his face.
Let me in.
Everyone tells him to go away, and they proceed to plan for their vacation. Entitled Kid then proceeds to say,
Let me in, or I'll get my mom.
Everyone knows that his mom lives in another state, so everyone was like, go get her then. The gang proceeded to plan the New York trip with Entitled Kid begging to be let in. This proceeded for 3 hours, and then his mom came. She drove from the next state over. She knocked on the door, they opened it, and it went like this. Just so you know, my older cousin didn't remember who Entitled Mom was at first because it had been a month since he had last seen her, but her behavior soon jogged his memory. Around this time, everyone was preparing to leave as they had made all of the final preparations. Older cousin, hello, can I help you?
Yes, my son says you won't let him go to New York with you guys. Why won't you?
Older cousin has this why me look on his face. Older cousin, I'm sure that you remember our last conversation. Me, my roommate, and brother want nothing to do with your son. The place where we're staying is Entitled Kid's roommate's house, and he has expressed that he doesn't want him to come. Entitled Mom and Kid look upset, and she says that she can pay for her son to go if that's the problem. Then little cousin gets involved. Little cousin, look, it doesn't matter that you can pay for him to go. We just don't want him to go. Entitled Mom, he is going. Don't you know who I am? How dare you speak to me that way? My son will be going with you on this trip, and that's that. Then Entitled Kid's roommate gets involved. His roommate, hey, I don't want your kid at my house. Seriously, he's been bothering me all semester and has made things harder for me. I sure as heck don't want him near my family or my home. Entitled Kid butts in with his attitude.
OMG, why do you have to be so mean? You spend all your time here and never invite me. You have to let me come to make it up to me.
His roommate, no I don't. It's my house. Then Entitled Kid starts wailing and demands his mom let him go to New York with them. Older cousin with an annoyed and sarcastic voice says, well, nice seeing you again. Bye. The gang proceeds to lock up the room and bring the luggage down to the car. Everyone goes on one last bathroom break before they get on the road. However, little cousin didn't lock the car. For those of you that know, Fords have a keypad on the driver door to lock and unlock the car. Little cousin didn't press the buttons right and the car didn't lock. When the gang came back to the car, Entitled Kid was in the back seat with his headphones on, with his mom waving as she drives away. It goes as follows. Roommate, hey, come back.
Have fun in New York.
They realize that her kid has just been dumped on them and that they are stuck. Little cousin says that we should call security, so older cousin does. They explain on the phone that Entitled Mom dumped her kid on them and that they're bringing him over because he is not their responsibility. Entitled Kid takes off his headphones and says,
Come on already, get this crap box,
94 Crown Victoria,
in gear.
Now the security office is around half a mile from the dorms, so for a while, Entitled Kid had this look on his face like he had won. When they pull up to the security office, his smirk disappears, as both the captain of the school and the dean were there. The captain says, you want to explain what you're doing in older cousin's car? Entitled Kid is sweating bullets and nervously says,
I'm going on vacation. My mom said I could.
The captain then says to them, is this true? Everyone, no! His mom just demanded that we let him go. She put him in and drove off. The captain then orders Entitled Kid out of the car. Entitled Kid then asks for older cousin to pop the trunk so he can get his bag out. Everyone just has this, you gotta be kidding look when he said that. The dean, who I'm told is a very kind old man, he gave Entitled Kid a very firm talking to. It went like this. Dean, in my 35 years, I've never had to deal with a more petulant child than you. I was light on your punishment the first time. That won't be the case this time. Your behavior is unacceptable. You have put me in an impossible position. The dean and the captain take Entitled Kid away. He was put on probation, so that meant he couldn't participate in sports or other events. Was given 20 days detention doing landscaping, and a security guard personally escorted him to and from classes. All in all, the gang had a pretty good vacation. Entitled Mom did call Entitled Kid's roommate's phone to lay into everybody. She was quickly blocked, and they haven't heard from her since. Soccer Mom is mad I fired her no-show daughter. We've got Entitled Soccer Mom. We've got her daughter, who works under me and also plays soccer. She's 18. And we've got me. So this takes place a few years back. It was shortly before my store manager abruptly quit, and I ended up running the store for a third of the year. Part of my role involved dealing with staffing issues. At this Dress for Less store, it is very hard to get fired for anything, including being a no-show. If you had 2 consecutive no-shows or 3 non-consecutive no-shows in a short period, you could be let go for job abandonment. You could call in all the time and still have a job, and some did for a while, but then you would get a lot fewer hours after that because we could not rely on you. My boss was still making the schedule, and he based it around the availability that was provided to him by staff. So Entitled Kid had turned in her availability at the start of the semester, and she was scheduled around that. She had maybe 1 to 2 days a week scheduled on tops. At this point, she had not shown up for about 2 weeks, leading to 3 non-consecutive days. I worked that evening and tried to call her to get a hold of her. On the second day of her not answering, about 3 calls, I decided to leave a voicemail. Hi, Entitled Kid, this is OP at the retail store. Due to you having 3 consecutive days of not showing up for work, we are going to have to end your employment with us. Reach out to me if you have any questions. Thank you. It was the script my company gave me. I let the manager know, and all was settled. The next morning, I opened the store, and at the moment, I was in the office getting some paperwork ready for the day. The phone rang, and I picked it up to an angry voice demanding to speak to me. I politely said that I was me, and how could I be of help? She proceeded to yell at me how I ruined her daughter's day. I stated that I did not know who she was referring to, but that I do not recall doing anything today that could be looked at that way. She then told me she was Entitled Kid's mom and that what we did was unprofessional and horrible. I told her that since her daughter is 18, I cannot go into details of her employment. My daughter is just a kid, she screamed. Legally, that is not true, I replied. Well, you scheduled my daughter for times she cannot work, and when she has school and practice, so she should not be fired. I calmly replied that we staff our store based on the availability that is provided to us, and it is set in the system so that it will only allow that. She said that is not true, and that her daughter is on a soccer scholarship at a local community college. I replied, that is good for her, but if she is scheduled to work and cannot, she needs to be able to let us know, as we do have a business to run. My daughter is going to school on a soccer scholarship, and she has to practice hard on soccer, so you have to work around that, she yelled. We staff based on the availability we are provided, and for staff to be employed here, they do have to show up for their shifts, I replied, a little testily. At this point, she follows up with, my daughter is going to school to get a much better job than you have in retail. She is going to be a teacher. I curtly replied, oh, that's nice. One of my degrees is in education. And you work here? She said demeaningly. I do, and luckily it pays about twice as much as a teacher makes. So there is nothing in you that can talk down to me. I replied angrily as I slammed down the phone. The job market for teachers isn't good, and I wasn't necessarily delighted with my career at the moment due to some life situations. She called back immediately, and I picked it up, and when I heard it was her, I hung up again. She did not call back after. Don't tell me what color to wear. As I was growing up, my fingernails got the worst end of chewing multiple times daily. They and my cuticles were ragged. My mom had tried many times to break me out of the habit, but it wasn't until I was 14 that I really put my mind to it and tried to stop. It was hit, or should I say bit, or miss for several months. When I had the chewing under control, my mom was really invested in helping me maintain it. We went shopping and she let me pick out the colors of several bottles of nail polish. This was in the 70s. Yeah, I know, way back in the dinosaur era. Vibrant colors had just become popular, and I chose pastel shades of blue, green, and yellow. My mother spent a couple of hours on a Sunday giving me a manicure and used the green shade of polish. They were so beautiful, and I vowed never to chew my nails again. At this point in time, I was a sophomore in high school. I didn't have many friends, and I usually walked the campus alone. A couple of days after my nails had been painted green, I was stopped as I was walking to class by one of the mean girls in her group. She, who was a senior, said, I heard you're wearing green nail polish. Let me see your hands. I timidly held them out, because the rumors about this girl weren't exactly glowing. She looked at my nails and said, Where did you get the polish?
And what made you think you could wear it to school?
I told her my mother had bought it for me and there weren't any school rules saying I couldn't.
Well, I didn't say you could, and you'd better not wear it again.
I was genuinely scared because of her reputation. Who was she to tell me what to do? But I wasn't looking forward to her beating me up either. That night, I said goodnight to my parents, went to my room, and sadly, reluctantly removed the polish. The next day, about halfway through the day, I was again spotted by Mean Girl, as always with her Mean Girl crew. She demanded to see my hands, and I told her I wasn't wearing green nail polish. She reached out and grabbed my arm, pulling my hand up. She said,
What did I tell you?
I replied, You said you didn't want to see the green polish. You never said anything about blue. Mean Girl quickly let go of my arm, and I really don't remember what she said. All I knew was I was alive and in one piece. For the remainder of her last year at the high school, she would give me dirty looks, but never again spoke to me. Middle school mischief. So when I was about 12, my best friend and I started being allowed to go to the mall by ourselves. I had a cell phone, and as long as we stayed together. My best friend had a super strict mother who was way too obsessed with making her a mini adult while letting her other siblings do pretty much whatever they wanted. Well, this was back in the early 2000s, where Hot Topic was still dark and scary, but was one of the few places to get anime merchandise. This started a few weeks before my best friend's birthday, and my mom had dropped us off so I could get an idea of what to get best friend for her birthday. So we are walking around Hot Topic and looking at the Naruto stuff when I see a graphic t-shirt with her favorite character on it. Me, Hey, best friend, look, you should get this. Best friend, Oh, I'm not allowed to have graphic t-shirts. I was confused. It was just a t-shirt. It didn't have anything bad on it like some of those other ones. It was a ninja in a silly pose. He didn't even have a weapon. Me, Why aren't you allowed to have t-shirts? Friend, Mom says I have to always dress like I would for work, and graphic t-shirts aren't appropriate. I really don't like my friend's mom, and honestly thought she was dumb because we were 12. No one is looking for a 12-year-old to manage their car dealership. We go around the mall the rest of the day, and every time she sees these shirts with our favorite characters on them, I can tell she wants them, but she can't buy them. At one point, I convinced her to text her mom and ask about a cute tank top she wanted with Pikachu on it, and told her she could wear it to the gym. Nope, big mistake. Her mom flipped. She showed me the texts, and well, they weren't nice. I was furious, and then came the fatal text.
I forbid you to buy those shirts. You'll look like a slob, like OP.
Oh, now it was on. So we went home, and I was still stewing. We never told best friend's mom that I saw that message, and I didn't dare tell my mom. But I thought about my dad, and thought about all the things he has done to tick people off who are rude to him like that, with malicious compliance and mischief. Ding! I then remembered the key words in the text. When it came time for me to buy a present for my friend, I bought her all those shirts that we had seen and a few more I knew she would love, and wrapped them in a gift box. Fast forward to the party. Best friend is opening her gift and gets to mine. She opens the box and sees all the shirts I got her, and her eyes go wide. Instantly, her mom is ticked. I can see it through her forced smile, because I know her mom is far too polite to deny her the gift. I also knew just what to say to get her not to chuck them in the trash immediately after the party. Me, my mom and I thought they were adorable, and now we match. Now she knew my mom would expect to see them as well. Later, when we were away from her mom, we laughed a bit about it, and she asked me why I got them. I reminded her that she was forbidden to buy the shirts, not me. For years afterwards, this was our system for getting around the rules. To avoid this getting any longer, here's a quick list of other issues we got around in a similar way, and yes, I either heard her mom say these things or read them through texts.
You have too many books. You can't buy any more.
I bought her a gift card to a giant bookshop that no longer exists.
You can't buy comic books. They'll rot your brain.
Bought her about $50 worth of comics.
Dungeons and Dragons is evil. Don't you dare buy those books.
Cool. Bought her the handbook, a set of dice, and some minis. So yeah, her mom would get super irritated with me, but she also still liked me. I think she likes me, but because she was super religious, didn't like how I was being raised, because I was a good friend, and she thought I was innocent in all her lectures about this stuff. I would never buy her anything that was actually bad, just things that were harmless and made her happy. My dad might have also helped in this as well by buying us our first convention tickets when he heard her mom say that those conventions were for freaks and overweight nerds, which he took as a jab at me. I'm not super skinny, but not fat either. and also helped us get our costumes together for the convention because her mom refused. Have you ever gone to a convention of any sort? If not, do you think you ever would? Please let me know, I'd really love to hear from you. And shoutouts to our Regenerals of the day, Thalius, King Juggernaut, Addy, and just a random Bigfoot with internet access. Become tomorrow's Regenerals by leaving as many reads as you can in the comments below, and please listen to my playlist every night when you go to sleep.